everybody, it's your girl Miss Trina with Chat with Trina, and it is October, so most of us know that it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And my very special guest tonight is Miss Daawnn JeBrett, who has gone from breast cancer patient to breast cancer survivor to breast cancer warrior. She shares her story, her journey with us this evening, and I know you all will get something out of it because I definitely did. Once you watch, please go to youtube.com/chatwithtrina, subscribe, and then make sure you share this with your friends, family, colleagues, because it is great information to know. Thank you, and let's get into it. Hello, everybody. This is Miss Trina with Chat with Trina. And I want to say I actually had a really nice intro written out, but I forgot. Anyway, good evening, everybody. Thank y'all for making the choice to click in to Chat with Trina. Once we finish this live, please go to youtube.com/chat with Trina and subscribe, and then click the little bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video. As we all should know, October is Breast Cancer Survivor Awareness Month. And so I always try to bring awareness and get people to come on and give their story. And I'm always honored when they do, because it's a very hard thing to do sometimes for people. But I believe in going on, getting a story out so other people can be aware and they can know what they need to do. And also those who may be going through, this horrible disease can know that they can make it through. That's why that's important to me. But my guest tonight is the lady that bought one of my only customers that bought my lipstick, Miss Daawnn. And Daawnn, is JeBrett your real last name?
That's my middle name.
What's your middle name? Okay, Daawnn JeBrett. She is a triple negative stage 3 survivor. I'm going to ask her what that actually means in a minute, because I wrote it because it sounded good. But I don't really know what it means. But how are you, Daawnn?
I'm really good. I am good. I am not going to complain because, it could be totally different.
These last 3 years, because you had everything, the COVID, going through COVID, and that's why that's wild to me. Oh, yeah. And you're definitely blessed. And we talked about that you're from Austin. How long have you been in Houston?
I moved to Houston in 2000, so it's been a minute.
Were you in the dance community there in Austin or no?
I was not. I was born and raised in Austin, and I just needed to do something different. I had 2 children, and I said, it's funny because I told everyone I'm leaving. I can't do this small town living ain't for me. And they're like, oh yeah, girl, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Yeah. I said, I don't know. Maybe I'll get a job in oil and gas. And then I'll do that for a little while until I, figure out how to get into the entertainment industry. Okay. And it's so funny. You got to be careful what you speak. Really? I moved to Houston, and within 2 years, I was working at an oil and gas company, and I did that for about 17 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yep. Did you enjoy that?
I sure did. I seen a lot of things. I was able to raise 2 beautiful daughters, put them through school, put them through college. No complaints.
Good. You said my dad was in the oil and gas business, but way back like in the 80s when it went boom. So that's how he got out of the gas industry.
Well, the same thing with me. And that's how actually the gas industry works. You have, 20, 25 years of where it's just like so freaking good. That's why you got to get it while you can. People climbing that ladder and all that. Yeah. But just like with anything else, once you get so much supply, the demand will go down. And a lot of people don't understand that the oil and gas regulation comes from a company called OPEC, not the president of the United States. I hear people all the time say, oh, when Biden was in, or when Trump was in, or when Obama, gas prices, and that is the furthest thing from the truth. Really? So when OPEC comes together every few years, they will say, okay, the US, we gave y'all the last 10, 15 years. Now it's time for another country to capitalize so that they can build up their supply and make money, supply and demand. And when that happens, that's when people are laid off because they no longer need the support because we're not drilling as much in the US. So like you said, when your dad was a part of that boom and then things changed, that happens to every single person in the oil and gas industry. It just depends on what you do. And so for me, I was there for 16 years. I made it through a couple of the layoffs, and then It caught up with me. And so that ended that reign. But I did pretty good.
So we're gonna move. So tell me, what does triple negative stage 3, what did you survive?
Okay. Breast cancer is breast cancer. It's just that. But there's different types of breast cancer. Okay. And more common breast cancer is breast cancer that are caused by female hormones, estrogen or whatever the other. It when you hear them say HER2, that means that your HER2. I'm losing my wording, but that is the cause of that breast cancer. And then there's another female hormone that can cause the cancer to grow, and they'll check that one. Well, after they finish checking the female hormones, and they say, no, this hormone didn't cause cancer, that hormone, you are left with triple negative, meaning they've checked all 3 of the female hormones, and neither one is the reason for that cancer. It makes it easier if you know what caused it to come up with a cure. But when you're triple negative, because they don't know what caused it, they can't really, they have to try to figure out what works, what's going to stop it from growing, or what's going to shrink it. So that's what triple negative means.
Is that why there is not a cure yet, because there's so many types? Is that?
Well, I don't know where we're at on that, because ever since I was a little girl, I would see commercials. Oh, we're fighting for a cure. Oh, and I have my own thought process about what's going on behind closed doors when it comes to that. But I do know that with triple negative, you have been tested for all of the female hormones, and neither one of them is the reason that's causing this cancer to grow, meaning they have no idea why you caught it. It's nothing that you've done. They checked to see if it was hereditary. It is not. I didn't pass a gene on to my kids or anything. So they just have no idea where and why I decided to set up shop.
And that's kind of good to know, because some people think I'm good because it's not hereditary. No one has it in my family, so I'm good. So that's a good thing to know.
That's the first thing I said when the lady called me and said, oh, it's positive. I said, ma'am, it can't be positive. No one in my family, and that's just not true. And I mean, who knows? I've been around for almost 50 years. So it could have been water. It could have been something in the food. It could have been the area that I was living in. They just don't know. And you will hear ignorant people say, oh, it's because of this or because of that. And that's just not true. And you got to be careful when you listen to people saying that, because you could be passing on incorrect information. They have no idea what causes it. And trust me, they check you from your head to your toes trying to figure out why it originated there.
And they just don't know.
You don't have no clue. I was diagnosed in 2020.
Okay.
It was October 2020. I have to give a shout out to Leslie Exum, because the only reason I knew was because she posted on her page back in 2020. Don't forget what October is. Check your tatas.
Right.
I got in the shower that night. I had never checked anything. Really? I got in the shower that night, did my check, and I was like, whoa, this is a really large lump. What is this? This doesn't feel right. Asked my boyfriend, hey, I need you to check something. And I said, no plan, I need you to. And sure enough, it was a huge lump. And we both kind of just said, oh, it's not going to be anything. It's going to be, just a mucus sac. When got a biopsy done, and the nurse that I saw basically said, something is growing up into your underarm area, your armpit, and that alarms me. And so she said, I don't want you to leave just yet. We need to do an extensive test. And that's basically how we found out that it was cancer. If it was just a mucus sac, it would be no need for me to have that growing up under my armpit. Here's my testimony.
Okay.
I was laid off from work in August of 2020 because of COVID. I had left the oil and gas industry, and I was working for another huge company. But because of the pandemic, they no longer needed all of these people, because they were only having so many people work from home.
Okay.
And I was laid off, and I thought, okay, I'll be all right. I'm a big girl. But what happens when you get laid off is you lose your health care. So I was laid off, and I was not working when I found out. Now I was receiving unemployment because, that's what they gave you if you were laid off. And a lot of people told me, oh, don't worry. There's all different kinds of
Health insurance?
No, not health insurance. There's all different types of companies and things out there that will help you get through this cancer thing. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to take you some time to get any type of real health care, because fighting cancer is super, super, super expensive. You can't just walk in and say, oh, I found out last week I have cancer. Help me, help me, help me. That's not how they work. They need that money rolling in so they can get you the chemo and all that different kind of stuff. So people told me, don't worry. They're going to give you a list of places to call and say, I just found out. And they're going to, set you up with these doctors until you can find insurance and blah, blah, blah. And normally that is exactly how it works. And those people, United Way, Susan B. Komen, all those corporations that specialize in that, they were also affected by COVID because they're nonprofit. So the money that they have set aside to help people that have found out they have cancer and are dealing with financial issues, those are all donations. All donations. Yeah. So COVID hit in early 2020, which means all these companies that was normally donating so much money to Susan B. Komen and United this and blah, 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 they were no longer able to do that because they were losing money. People would have money come out of their check because their mom or their grandmom or whoever had it. People were not doing that. So those places that would help you with those type of benefits, they were non-existent because during that time, it was all about COVID, something new, something that was killing people. We didn't have a cure, and we know cancer is there, but that took a back seat. Even the government agencies that would donate to those places were not able to push those funds there because everything was going towards the fight of the pandemic.
Oh, wow.
So it was very hard for me for several months. I was distraught. I was like, God, you have to be kidding me, right? There is no possible way that this is happening now of all times. Yeah. So you can imagine the fear, the stress, the sadness that I was going through in 2020 and the first 6-7 months of 2021.
Right. Because just going back a little bit, it was right before COVID, or was it right at COVID that you bought the lipstick for your birthday?
It was right before.
Because right then, like no time you were saying that I was like, oh my God. And in my mind, I was like, well, did she have it then? Did she? Because everything was kind of running through my mind because we had just seen each other and you were celebrating your birthday. Yep. But Teddy and I used to talk about you because we kept saying, we've got to get over there to her, but it's COVID because we wanted to bring you something or send you something. Because we had the radio station going, but it was so many different things, but we thought about you all the time.
And I would hear from Teddy all the time. She would send me messages and keep in touch with me, but you're right.
Yeah.
You guys couldn't risk your lives, but at the same time, I'm receiving chemo. I have an open port in my chest. They literally put a port in my chest so that they wouldn't have to punch my arm every time. And I went weekly. So there was no way you could have even come to see me. Like I went about 1.5 years with seeing no one except for my boyfriend, my best friend, and my sister. And the only reason I seen those 3 people was because they all got together and said, we're going to rotate.
Gotcha.
Kenneth, we don't want you to die over there trying to take care of her, So we're going to give you a week because you have to go to work. You have things that you have to do. My sister would come and take care of me for a week. My best friend would come for a week. And then Kenneth would do his week or 2.
Right.
But you wouldn't have been able to see me anyway, just because I couldn't be around any type of germs. My immune system was already wiped out. I always tell people, when someone is on chemo, they have no immune system. If you catch a cold, you get to sneeze and take some NyQuil or whatever, because your body is doing what it needs to do to fight that cold. Where someone with no immune system, I could die from a cold.
Because you
So,
can't, don't have anything to fight it. Fight
nope,
off the.
you have nothing to fight it,
Wow.
right?
Now and that's interesting. You know, of course you hear about breast cancer, but those are the things that I've never really thought about. I didn't think about that. And then of course it was COVID, so they couldn't be around too many people either when they come, by the time they come see you.
Yep, they had to make pacts with their friends. My sister has grandchildren and kids, and she would say, I can't do this because next week is my week. I need to take my COVID test, make sure I have 7 days before I go see my sister. And that's the way it is. So though I had people, like I said, it was 3 people that were constant, but they even gave up their life to help.
Oh, that's really, that's a blessing to have people to do. Once you heard, I think I heard you say that you were like, no, because that can't be true, because nobody, doesn't run my family. Were you just wondering, or were you in denial at first?
I was in denial.
Okay.
I was, for the most part, a very healthy woman. I was very active. I went dancing at least once a week, sometimes 2-3 times a week. I was in the gym. I was eating not the best, but definitely not, the trash that people say will cause cancer. So I was in total denial. It was not going to be me. It was no way it was going to be me. I have a twin brother who struggled with high blood pressure a few years back. And I knew then, okay, I got to change how I eat, because I don't want to struggle with that. And then my older sister, she deals with high blood pressure and diabetes. So I learned from her, I have to change my eating. I don't want to deal with that. And even with changing my eating and working out, I was the one that ended up with cancer.
Right. That's always crazy. Wow. So your brother really couldn't come around either.
My brother is my twin. We always say my first roommate. We were each other's first. We are thick as thieves.
Yeah.
And he's a brawny type guy. He's not, he's not going to say anything eloquent.
Right.
But he's a protector, and he's a very manly man. He could not see me in that state. He came and he seen me one time, right before I started chemo. And that was it. And I knew I wasn't going to see him for a couple of years. And he didn't come back.
Didn't want to see. I've had to explain that to my mom when my grandmother got she had dementia. And so I have an uncle, and I know my uncle love, but she would always complain how he wouldn't come. And I told her, I said, you know what it is? It's not that he doesn't love her, not that he doesn't care, not that he doesn't want to help. He does not want to see his mom like that.
That will bring a strong man to his knees. To see someone that you love that close going through that. And again, these are protectors. Remember, these are manly men. And to know that there's nothing that they can do to make you feel better. They can't handle that. And so, like I said, me and my brother, he was always my protector growing up. And we were hell on wheels. So he was not, he couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I get that. About the hair, when you have the loss of hair, how did that affect you?
At the time, I was so scared that I wasn't going to make it, because I was already at stage 3. So the loss of the hair, them telling me, your hair's going to come out.
Didn't even bother you.
It didn't bother me, because I'm thinking, why would I need to be worrying about my hair?
Right.
But when I had, and they told me after your first chemo, a few days afterwards, it's going to come out. A lot of people don't know this, because I've worn extensions for over 20 years. A lot of people don't know that my natural hair is the length of the extensions that I wear, and almost just about the thickness. And that was because I kept it natural. I always braided it up, sewed some hair and put it away. So when my hair started to come out, I have a video that I posted on my page. Where I've actually took my braids down. I've combed all of my hair out. but you can see that it's coming out in patches. And we just recorded it. We sat in the bathroom and
It comes out that much at one time.
Oh yeah, it's dead. Once you put that chemo in your body, it kills everything. Chemo is going to kill all of those living cells that promotes anything healthy. So there's a video from a year and a half ago of me getting my head shaved, and it showed my natural hair. And it showed, I turned from the side where you can see like a patch of hair had come out of the front side. Yeah. And then I just combed it out and shaved it bald. It was gonna happen anyway.
Did you have anyone else that you knew that went through this that could help you understand or that helped talk you through it?
I actually knew a lady that had passed away from breast cancer. But again, I never thought
it would be you.
Anything, yeah. She passed away from it, and I hadn't known anyone else that didn't make it. Again, because it was during COVID, and you couldn't go anywhere, or you shouldn't be going anywhere. There was no one that I could like go to, and
right.
The support groups weren't open and all that.
I read something that my heart just fluttered when you said that your boyfriend said that he wasn't going anywhere. I don't know if you told him to go somewhere, but you said he was not, he was there for you. And I just thought that was so awesome. How did that make you feel? That's when you knew for sure he was the one, first of all.
Tell you, if I didn't know any time before,
you knew then.
I was coming out of my second or third doctor's appointment, and that appointment, they had given me the list of everything that they had ran. Told me it's definitely stage 3, definitely triple negative. And they tell you what your survival odds are.
Really? Okay.
And that broke my heart because I don't know if anyone else knows. Often African-American women are treated unfairly when it comes to health and healthcare. Also, there's this stigmatism out there that Black people just have what it takes to endure things. And so they don't really get that care and concern because, that's what they've been told in their teachings. And the death rate of African-American women with triple negative breast cancer is higher than any other nationality.
Wow.
So I got in the car that day and it was all doom and gloom. And I said, look, we don't have to do this thing because it's cancer and it's serious and it's not, gonna get better anytime soon. He says, I know it's cancer. I know. And I was like, so look, if you want to go on and do, he was like, baby, get in the car and put the seatbelt on. Let's go home.
Yes. Yes. You a keeper. Yeah, that
so
was
it was one of the biggest blessings of that journey. Yep. I found my soulmate.
That was just wonderful. I don't know if you I don't know, but I saw it on your Facebook page and I was like, oh my gosh. So, but that was nice because everybody can't, or maybe just don't even want the responsibility because it's a big responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility and it is not pretty. So even if you think you might not want to do this, you might want to go with that, move with that, because chemo is poison.
That's
and
right.
I've always said cancer is, I'm trying not to curse. Cancer is an assault, right? But chemo is torture. Because chemo is the only thing that they could give, and they don't even guarantee that you're going to survive it. With triple negative, because they don't know what to fight it from with, they can't guarantee that it's going to help. They just try some concoctions. based on your weight and your ethnicity. Again, that comes in. One of the strongest, the strongest form of chemo is called AC, also known as Red Devil. And a lot of people do not finish chemo if that is what the doctors and the scientists decide that that's what you need to take to kill your cancer. And usually the later it gets, the stronger the cancer is, the closer you are to being given that AC. And they said, a lot of people don't finish it because it's so hard on your body. And I was like, no, I'm gonna finish it. They didn't really know who they were talking to, but let's go, let's move forward. I want to have a fighting chance with this thing. But what it does after you get up out that chair and you got to go home, somebody has to be there to take care of you. And that's the ugly part. That's
really correct.
I'm sorry?
You get really sick when you.
Oh, you're very sick because chemo is basically poison. And they have to give you the poison to kill the cancer. But unfortunately, they're giving you poison. And what happens when you take poison? Wow. So, I mean, you just it's so many side effects from it. And you never know what's going to happen.
What about the radiation? Is that as bad as well?
I was lucky enough. I did not have to have radiation. They usually give you radiation when the cancer went into your lymph nodes. I was lucky enough that I did not have them in my lymph nodes. And the route that my doctor chose for me was to start with chemo. They would then, after I finished the intravenous chemo, then they would do the radiation if needed. I didn't need it.
Okay, well, that was good.
Yeah.
When did you find out that, was it like a gradual thing? Let's say, okay, the cancer is killing the cancer's going away, or was it a cancer's gone?
Well, it's not a gradual thing because in order to do that, they would have to cut you, poke you, withdraw. You're going through enough. So they tell you based upon how your diagnosis, this is how long you got to take it.
Gotcha.
So I was on chemo for 8 months.
Wow.
I started out weekly with the Red Devil. After I finished those, I then went to another chemo that was a little less harsh. And they did at the time, they were able to tell that the lump, during the scans, that the lump was shrinking. So they knew that it was working. But there would be no way for them to know for sure that the cancer was completely gone until they actually cut me open again, check, see if it's any cells in there. So they saved that to the end. They don't want to keep cutting you open. So nope, it was no way. Once I finished all of the rounds of chemo that they gave me, I went in. I chose to have a double mastectomy.
Okay.
The cancer was only on my right breast, but triple negative its return rate is higher than the other two. And I was just like, I'm not playing. I'm not going to do this again if I don't have to. So I chose to have a double mastectomy. They removed both of the breast, and they then went in, checked, and they were like, we have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news was they could not find any more of the cancer, the triple negative breast cancer. And usually when you remove your breast, the cancer doesn't have anywhere to set up shop. Right. So no breast cancer, right? If you don't have any breast. And they will rebuild you and have it look just like it did before, sometimes even better. Wow. So I don't want women to think, oh, I got to lose her. Yes. Wow. Get rid of it. In my opinion, I can't put it on anybody. In my opinion, it just wasn't worth it. I can, deal with that. But unfortunately, the cancer did travel. And that's when I was diagnosed with colon cancer. What happens is cancer cells are floating through your body and it's looking for somewhere to set up shop, right? And if it finds a place in your brain, then it's brain cancer. If it finds it in your breast, it's breast cancer. It's still a cancer cell. Yeah. So what happens is when they put that port in, I had a port that they put in right here, and that sent the chemo in over to the right breast. And every week I would go in and it would just pour the chemo, trying to kill the cancer cells in the breast. But what happens is sometimes those cancer cells say, oh shit, we got to go somewhere. We got to get out of here. And you're hoping that the chemo gets all of it, but you can't guarantee that. And the cancer cells will travel. And I've heard of it traveling to people's brains, their lungs, their stomach, wherever it wants to go. Wherever cancer wants to go, it's going to go. So it traveled, and I was diagnosed
with colon cancer.
Yeah, a month after they told me I didn't have breast cancer. So I started chemo all over again.
Wow. Now with this, are they saying that they think, well, you're gonna do chemo all over, and will you lose your, well, yeah, you're gonna lose your hair again.
I'm actually finished because that was in 2021.
Okay.
And I finished the meds that I was on for colon cancer. And I'm trying not to confuse the two, because when I do that, people have all these different questions. And I know your topic is breast cancer, but I'm just saying, for me, it did evolve into another form of cancer. I had to do chemo again for that, and that is now gone. So my hair has started growing back, and I'm talking about quickly. It came back in a totally different texture, and it is almost all white.
Really?
Yes, it looks like you know how sometimes you get the women that can dye their hair, not gray, but it's not blonde.
I know what you mean.
That's what it looks like. I did, but it's just my hair came back in.
Are you back dancing?
I am not back dancing. It's funny that you ask. I was planning on going to Texas Heat this past weekend. I bought my tickets. I was ready to go. I had a great outfit, but I put on some shoes and I just didn't feel secure. And I said, you know what? I have to make sure. And I've been trying to get back, but after going 2 years, actually it's been longer than 2 years, without wearing heels and, you know, a lot of laying down and resting, I just don't have the comfort that I want. It's not that I can't, but I don't have the comfort that I want, especially with dancing. Gotcha. So I have decided to just wait until I know for sure that I'm comfortable, because it doesn't make sense to try and go out dancing and be uncomfortable. You're miserable. Yeah. When it comes to empowerment, I am so big on that, even before the cancer thing. Helping another female, another woman, that is like a huge priority to me, because I know what it feels like to not have the help. And that stems from my childhood, right? So I promised myself when I became an adult that I would be there for other females, regardless of their age. Definitely. And that sometimes leads into, you know, working with men as well. But when it comes to cancer, anyone can ask me anything, anytime about this disease, because the information. Who knew? Who knew?
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting to me also, and I think everybody should only do this when they're ready, but it was disappointing. I don't know if that's the right word. So I'm gonna just say this disclaimer to everybody. I apologize if I'm gonna offend, because it's not my thought. Men, I asked a few men that I know who have had it. They're not ready. They're not ready to share. And it's funny, I'll see these people share a lot of things, these men, and it amazes me that they're just not there yet. And so people still don't know that there's breast cancer. So the one person I asked, of course not mentioning his name, but I asked him, and he was very, very nice about it. He just said, I just don't think I'm ready. I reached out to Matthew Knowles, because you know he had breast cancer.
I do.
He didn't respond back. Not that I thought he would, but I just gave it a try. But this particular person just said, I just don't know. And what I sent back, I said, I totally understand that you're not ready. But I said, so let me know you're ready. However, keep in mind that you want to help others to know that there is a thing, that male breast cancer, it is a thing. And if no one knows.
It is. It's real.
You know, it's definitely real. Matter of fact, the same thing, the other person I have on the show, she had a fashion, Vanita Webb. She used to do my hair years ago. She's coming on next week. She had a fashion show. There's a fashion show every year for breast cancer survivors. And I saw she was selling the male breast cancer shirt. So I said, okay, she has to know somebody. And she says, I do. She said, I can't even get them to talk. I was like, really?
Wow.
So that's interesting. So I hope that eventually Matthew knows need to get to talking more. So some other men, and I say that not to put their business out for them to have, but to help other men know that this is something they need to be checked for. They need to.
Right. It doesn't just affect women. You think when you hear breast cancer, you automatically think, oh, some woman is going through this horrible, but there are men that suffer from breast cancer as well. And they go through the same thing, regardless of your male parts or not. If it sets up in your breast, your chest area.
And then it can travel as well. Yeah. So I hope that's actually my hope that by next year I can get someone to do that. And you know what, let me take me out of it. My hope is that more men will open up to do it so that other men can know that it's a thing. You know what I mean? Right. And get checked for it. Because I don't know, when we go to the doctor, I know that we get checked for breast cancer, well, lumps or whatever. But do men, when they go to the doctor, I don't think they check for it.
They again, when you find that person that's willing to share, they're going to tell you exactly how they found out. And the doctor will then be able to tell you, would have told him, this is how you go about checking for it. Or if there isn't a way, you have to come into, because we don't have anyone that's open enough to share that information. We just don't know. I mean, I was in the chemo room with a couple of men, but it's such a horrible place. You're not having conversations.
Not having conversations about that. Yeah.
You're scared, you're worried, you're in pain. So.
Daughters handle this.
My oldest daughter and I are very, very close, and she is very strong-minded. She's a lot like me. She did not handle it very well. She moved to Los Angeles after she graduated college, and she's been living in LA, working in the entertainment industry for about 7 years. Okay. So we weren't close. Again, it was during COVID. She was like, okay, I'm coming home. I was like, no, baby, you can't. Let me tell you why. If you get on a plane, and we had to go through it. And she was like, what? You're telling me I can't come see you and you've been diagnosed with cancer? And I'm like, no, this is going to be the best thing. This is what we have to do for the next few months. So she was really hurt and she was really scared. My youngest daughter, she's my spirit child. Oh, everything's going to work itself out. Oh, I'm not going to worry. I'm not that one. Yeah. She, I don't think she's really grasped what mama went through. Okay. She didn't really get it until she actually came to see me after I'd had my surgery.
Okay.
The first surgery, because unfortunately I've gone through 6 surgeries in the past 8 months. Because they have to, when you have a DMX, they have to reconstruct you. They have to rebuild, if that's your choice. Some people say, hey, cut them off and I'm not worrying about anything.
Yeah.
But the doctor's like, hey, we don't want to just leave you like that if you don't want to. Yeah. You can take fat from other parts of your body and rebuild it if that's what you want. So of course, when they cut everything off and my daughter came to see me, then I think she kind of caught it like, okay, this is what mom's been going through the past year and a half.
I am excited and just honored that you said yes to come on. And again, I don't know if it wasn't about trying to be vain, but I just felt you were, and I felt you were ready. Even though I didn't know that you had went through some other things, I felt that you were ready. So I was really, when you responded back, I was like, yes, I knew it. So yeah. But
I am so glad that you asked me to share my story, because if it helps one other woman, then it was worth it. But also, it also gives me the opportunity to say thank you to my friends and family and everyone that supported me really quickly. Yes. Like I said at the beginning, I was not working. I did not have health care. All of the charities and organizations that were usually put in place to help someone move forward and get through this process as quickly as possible did not have funds because of the pandemic and COVID. And my daughter created a GoFundMe page. It was the most, it brought me to such a place of humility.
Yeah.
Because that was not me, right? Right. But let me tell you, my cancer bills, just for the breast cancer part, when it was all done and said, was $785,000. And that was just for 8 months of fighting breast cancer. That was not the surgeries. That was not the colon cancer fight. That was just fighting. That was just chemo and doctor's visits for breast cancer. So when my friends and family started pouring into that GoFundMe, and don't get me wrong, I think I raised like $12,000. And that's not a whole lot of money, but let me tell you, that was food, that was co-pays, that was gas, that was groceries, medicine, parking fees, because the hospital don't care that you're there for chemo. You still got to pay these people.
You got to pay for parking. That's a whole conversation.
Right. So I just appreciate any and everybody that donated to that, because I could not have gotten through it the way that I did. I always say that sometimes God don't need y'all to help him, help me, right? Like when you go from one job to God said, okay, I don't need that job to help me take care of you anymore. I got you. So yeah, you can go ahead and leave that job. Or I was using them so that I could help you, but I got something else for you. So God used care and concern, people that I didn't even know cared about me.
Wow.
To pour into me during a horrible time of my life. And it's so many of y'all, but I just want to say thank you so much. Every one of y'all and everything that y'all gave, donated, it is greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. You have no idea how much that helped me get through that fight.
And also, is it humbling to
it
see
is
that, you know what I mean?
It is.
When you're someone who's very independent,
which you never think it's going to be you. You never think you're going to, but I always call it the 3 C's. It was COVID, cancer, and chemo. And that was 2020, 2021, and part of 2022. Those the 3 C's that was what my whole life was about.
Wow, that is something. Can would you ever think of writing a book?
Well, it's funny that you asked. Yes, I am going to write a book. I have already started, and it's not going to be the typical, let me tell you what cancer was like for me. It's going to be a book with, actually, let me not say, but yes, I am. It's
why did you know you need to come and chat with Trina again?
You know, I'll be back.
Do you have any last words or last advice or last anything that you want to leave for people besides the thank yous?
I do. Never, ever, ever, ever give up on yourself. Never quit on yourself. If I had to die trying to get into that door to get the medicine that I needed, that's what I would have done. And I would tell anyone, whether it's cancer or diabetes, high blood pressure, depression, whatever it is, never, ever, ever give up on yourself. There's so many people out there that's going to give up on you. There's so many people out there that's going to speak on you that don't really know what's going on with you, that have no idea who you are or what you're about, where you come from and what you got in you. You just got to let them people be who they are. You got to focus on you. And I think for me, having a relationship with the God of my understanding, not my mama's God, not my grandmama's God, my God, helped me get to where I am today, cancer-free and planning a wedding to a wonderful man. If I would have gave up on me, you know.
Right. And you can give up on you, but it's amazing. Not amazing, because I'm sure there are many, many men, but it's amazing. And it's such a blessing. And it's such a, I felt joyful, you know, that he was like, are you crazy? Where am I going? Like, we in this together. You know what I mean?
It's still some good ones.
You got that on my checklist.
It's still some good ones out there. It is still some good ones out there. And I have proof.
And that part of your story definitely helps somebody like me that's looking. I keep grabbing these frogs. So I'm gonna keep on chunking them out the window till I get the prince, the king.
That's exactly what you got to do. And for me, I'll tell anybody, don't waste too much time when you start getting them red flags. Because
Yeah,
people call them red flags. A lot of times they're stop signs. They're red light.
absolutely.
Don't waste too much time. Don't just keep,
This conversation, but I was so proud of myself because just recently there were some red flags, and I said, you know what, we're not doing this. And I just said, hey, I really think you're cool, but this just ain't it. Because it's just no need of wasting so much energy and time.
right.
Because I was telling someone the other day, women, I don't know if it's just women, but I'm gonna say from my side, women, we see the red flags and we be trying to make it yellow.
Don't we? Don't we?
Oh yeah. No, that flag is red.
And they call them red flags. And I'm like, girl, that is a full-fledged red light, a stop sign, a detour sign. It's like, look, I've been there. That's a whole nother subject. I got some stuff. I got hot.
Thank you again for everything. I will tell you, we all think that we know so much about breast cancer, but today I'm gonna tell you it was a whole full lesson for me because I did not know all of those things that you spoke about. And again, I've never had anyone on the show to talk about it. You know, if I had someone, it was someone just talking about the symptoms, check your breast, but never to hear someone who went through it to say things like that. It can travel. That was big to know that. And then just to hear, I always wondered about how the hair came out. I knew it was caused by chemo, but I didn't know how quickly it came out. I didn't know that.
About 3 to 5 days after chemo.
Yes. Yeah. And then I knew that chemo was poison, but your description and your analogy, your the way you describe it, yeah, that makes sense. It's poison going in my body. So yes, it's killing everything. It's trying to kill the cancer, but it's killing everything else along the way.
Yeah. So you have to be on medicine for your heart. You have to be on medicine for your liver because your tongue, my tongue turned black. My nails and my toenails turned black because you are literally putting doses of poison in your body to kill the cancer. Yeah. And it's slowly, killing all those healthy cells. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason why they say eat healthy while you're going through lots of water and things like that, because it's a fight on top of a fight. Again, cancer was assault, chemo was torture because it is right there in your face. You feel it, you see it, you're sick. It hurts, all of that. Cancer's in their body doing whatever it wants to do. You have no idea. Sometimes, unfortunately, you have no idea until it's too late. I'm just grateful for Leslie Exum. She said, check your tatas. I got in the shower. And I'm the only person that I know that actually checked their breast and found the lump. I know people that have been diagnosed with cancer, but that was because they got sick or they went to the doctor. I actually found my cancer by doing a breast exam at home.
So y'all, men, women, I can't really tell you much right now, but women, I know for sure, go ahead and I'm guilty. I'll do it sometimes, but then I'll stop. But we've got to remember to check our tatas in that shower, raise that arm up, and have your boyfriend check it. He know what's supposed to be there,
right?
There. So yeah, so. And because I used to be paranoid, like I be feeling all kind of stuff, so I ain't gonna know what it is. So I would give that excuse, and then we're all scared to find out we have something, but if we don't find out, we can't do anything about it. So we've got to check. Thank you so much, and I cannot wait to see. But I'm just so happy for you and your blessing and your journey. Good luck on the wedding. So you're gonna have a wedding?
I'm kind of thinking a wedding. Yeah.
I think so too, because it's not only a celebration of love, it's just going to be a celebration of life.
It is. We're trying to get to that moment. We're just really coming off of, okay, the colon cancer is gone. I'm back working. Yay, I'm out there. But I have to take it slow. I don't have the energy like I used to. Like I said, I haven't started dancing yet. I get sick easily because my immune system is still trying to build itself back up. But like I said last week, each week I feel better and better. So I'm almost back. It took a minute. So
well, your pictures are still beautiful. So you're beautiful even here. So thank you very much. You. And guys, I hope those of you who are watching live, I really appreciate that y'all go to youtube.com/chatwithtrina. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you click the bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video. And once I post this, please share it with your friends. Share, even if it's not October. Let's say that breast cancer awareness is 365 days a year. So, because you don't just catch it in October, like it needs to be.
That's right.
Post this, spread it, because if it doesn't help you, it can help somebody else. Thank you, Daawnn.
Thank you so much, Trina.
You're
We need to
welcome.
link up and we will do that soon.
And we're going to have lunch or dinner. We're going to do that.
That's right.
Okay. Thank you.
Good night,
Bye.
y'all. Bye-bye.
Daawnn, I want to just thank you again from the bottom of my heart for agreeing to come on and chat with Trina about your journey, your story, and your transparency was just awesome. I know someone's going to learn something from this because I've learned a lot from it. So yes, this is going to help so many people. So thank you again. I wish you nothing but the best, and I'm so excited about your wedding. And yes, we're definitely going to link up. We got things to do. Guys, make sure y'all go to youtube.com/chatwithtrina. Subscribe, then click that little bell so you can be notified when I upload a new video, but also comment. Comment to Daawnn, let her know what you thought about her being so open and transparent. And then comment to me, let me know what you think about some of my chats on Chat with Trina. And lastly, share. Share it with others. Others may get so much from this story and other stories that I promote on Chat with Trina. So thank you guys for all of your support, and pass the word about Chat with Trina. Thanks, and have a good evening.